This is my G20 330i and it sounds like this. Which is pretty sad and sounds kind of like a Prius, so today we're going to take it from that and make it sound like this.
That's Zach. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and check us out at KiesMotorsports.com. This is Zach's G20 330, and it sounds like a commuter car, kind of like a Prius, but today we're turning the aggression up by adding a genuine BMW and performance exhaust.
In today's video, we are going to show you step-by-step how to install this on your car, so let's get right into it.
The first part of the process is to get the vehicle off the ground. We're going to be using a lift, but that's mainly for video purposes. If you have ramps or jack stands, those will be perfectly acceptable. So with that, let's lift the vehicle.
All right, so I'm going to give you an overview of the install process real quick. There's basically just a couple 13 millimeters holding it up. On the exhaust hangers, there is a connection we're going to undo, and then we do have to cut the exhaust right here at this dimple. Once that's done, we'll drop the exhaust, we'll transfer a couple things over, and we'll bolt the other one back up. And then obviously we got to put on those amazing carbon fiber tips.
Now when it comes to cutting, we don't want you to be intimidated. Although we typically like to use a Sawzall with a carbide blade, today we're going to go a little bit more DIY at home friendly with a $15 exhaust cutter off of Amazon. These are pretty much good for like 1, maybe 2 cuts. This is not a long life item like our saw is. So what you need to do is first find the dimple that Zach referenced a little bit earlier. And this is going to be our cut location. So what you can do is take your chain of blades, and then you can see that there's a little hook there. You're gonna find one that is a decently snug location, just like that. Make sure that everything is lined up. The other nice thing is when you use one of these tools, you're not going to be spraying little metal pieces everywhere. And then all you do is apply some pressure and then just twist it like 1/8 of a turn to 1/4 of a turn. And as you're cutting, just keep going back and forth and just apply even pressure. Now you don't have to be crushing it because the wheels are cutting, so you don't have to worry about cutting yourself. Start to hear some of the wheels start to poke through. It's good timing. Okay, we're just about there. Just gonna do a little repositioning here. There we go. Once you've done that, take that off. And check out how nice that cut is. Not bad for a $15 cutter.
All right, so for the next step, we need to disconnect this connection. You just squeeze on both sides, give it a little wiggle, it'll pull right down just like that. All right, once that's been disconnected, there are 3 locations with 13 millimeters we need to remove. There's one here, there's one here, and there's one here. Then you can set this in a safe location.
Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to transfer over these exhaust hangers. Now with the BMW OEM system, you don't even have to transfer over the flap actuator because it actually comes with a new one. But what you want to do, take a little exhaust hanger removal tool, and we'll have these tools listed for you down below. You just squeeze and guide this out. If you want to spray it with something like a little WD-40, it will make it come off a little bit easier and also reinstall easier. And then just take that over, just slide that on, and then do the same for the other 2. Then what we're gonna do, We had some stickers on here because it was brand new. If you just put a little WD-40 on, that'll help clean everything up, and then we can install it. Now, with most aftermarket exhausts, there's normally a separate little coupler that holds the exhaust together. BMW just builds it in, which is pretty cool. And then we have our clamp. Make sure that you have your clamp in a way where you can tighten it and it's not going to hit and rattle, but we're gonna show you that in 1 second. When you go to install, you wanna make sure that you go towards the front of the car a little bit more than normal, and then Zach can lift up and put his section in place. Because it kind of, those little grommets sit behind a little section. You want to make sure that you get them around. So now, you good? I'm going to lift this up and slide it on. Now it actually doesn't fit. Now what you'll notice is that this actually is, BMW didn't spread it enough. There's 2 ways that we can fix that though. So let's put this back on the ground for a second, and then I'll show you how we can correct that. All right, so when BMW stretched the end here, they didn't go quite enough. We just need a little bit more. Now there's 2 ways that you can correct this. Way number 1 is you can put a flathead screwdriver in here and try to make it a little bit larger. That's probably the way that most of you are going to approach it. Or if you go to your local auto parts store, they will have a tool that looks like this. This is actually an exhaust spreader tool. So you just put this in here and then you open it up. And then mine takes a 3/4 inch wrench. You just give this a few turns and it's going to spread it to make it so it slides on much easier. But this is something that's very common, whether it's BMW OEM or an aftermarket exhaust. And we can remove the tool and try again to reinstall. All right, let's try again. I'll allow Zach to get that up there. Line this up. Ah, much better. Okay, almost have to wiggle it to me. Can you push towards me?
Yep.
Okay, and then what you can do is grab each exhaust tip and just kind of wiggle back and forth. And then once you have it where you want it, you can put the nuts on. I'm gonna get these on so he can let go of his side. All right, once you have everything in place, you can tighten down those 13 millimeters. And while I'm over here, I'm just gonna take our clip, plug that in like that, and then tighten our last 13 mil.
Then you're gonna take your clamp and you're gonna position it on the coupler here. I like to slide it all the way down to the end. Make sure it's nice, straight, lined up. And for positioning this way, you don't want it to be hitting the heat shielding. You know, you don't want to hear that rattle as you're driving down the road. So I get it pretty even there. Tighten it up. You're gonna crank this down pretty hard so that it can actually seal the metal to the metal. And that should make sure you don't have any exhaust leaks.
And then what we're going to do, we're just gonna hit the bottom now with a little bit of WD-40. And this is going to make sure that none of our fingerprints, the oils from our skin or anything like that, are going to get burned into the metal. So with that, let's lower it down just a hair and install the tips.
All right, I just want to show you the tips right before we install them. These are the OEM carbon fiber tips, and I love the look of the M etched in right here. So for installing these, as you see, there is a little notch here. There's a cutout. And if you look on the exhaust right here, there's a little pin. That actually lines up to make sure you have it oriented correctly. So you'll slide on and it'll hit that notch and you'll know that's how it's supposed to be orientated. Now the tips are different, so for knowing which one goes on which side, they do curve with the bumper. So when you line this up here, you'll see it does kind of like go with the form of the bumper here, and the same for the other side. Slide it on, and you'll see the curvature goes with the bumper. Then you're gonna take a 5mm hex and you're gonna go up and tighten those on each side. Now you can do this off the car. However, we didn't want to risk scratching the tip, so this is how we're gonna do it. All right, the install is done. It looks amazing. Let's see how it sounds. Sounds 10 times better. It sounds a lot better.
All right, Zach had a turn to listen, so now it's my turn. Now with this, keep in mind you are retaining your factory resonator. So it's not going to sound like a straight pipe or anything. It just adds a little bit of aggression. All right, let it rip. Oh yeah, that's a million times better. He's even got burbles. When you're sitting inside the car, there's so much sound deadening that it still sounds pretty quiet, but from behind the car and for everyone else on the road, it sounds amazing. That's way louder than I thought it was gonna sound.
Yeah, it's 10 times better.
No, it's 1.5 million better. 1.5 million times better. Give us some more revs. Oh, that's awesome. This sounds really nice. Now, it's not going to sound like this F80 over here, which sounds crazy loud, but it's a completely different animal, and that has different exhaust. But especially since it still has that factory resonator, it is going to tone it down a little bit, but even so, it sounds amazing. It actually sounds 1 million times better than I thought it was going to sound, so that's always a good thing.
So as you can see, this OEM and performance exhaust with the carbon tips looks amazing, it sounds amazing, and I'm just more than happy with how it sounds. It just blows the stock out of the water. So as you can see, the install was pretty easy, and if you're looking to do this at home and you're looking for the parts or the tools we've used in today's video, check out the links in the description. Once again, this is Zach and that's Ryan. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and check us out at kiesmotorsports.com, and we'll see you in the next video.